In the deepest corners of the internet, there are whispers of rituals that promise power for a price. And there are stories of societies that have ruled the darkness for centuries, their existence a secret kept in blood. Tonight, we're exploring two of the most terrifying legends from those dark corners. But be warned, some stories feel a little too real. These are the tales that prove you should fear what goes bump in the night. The ones that begin when the clock strikes 12. They might start as a thrill, a dare, a way to laugh at the dark, but they rarely end that way. Because when you invite something into your home, you can't always make it leave. The first story we're diving into tonight is about one of those invitations. It's presented as a game. It sounds simple, but the stakes are higher than you can imagine. It is known as the Midnight Game, a ritual that has been passed down through anonymous internet forums. The legend claims it's an old pagan rite used for punishment, but its true origins seem to be a modern creation of online horror forums. Most people think it's just a story, but for those who claim to have played and survived, they say they know the truth. The game isn't about winning, it's about surviving until 3:33 a.m. According to the story, it starts with a simple set of materials: a candle, a piece of paper, something to write with, matches, salt, and a wooden door. And of course, a single drop of your own blood. The rules of the legend are precise, and any deviation is ill-advised. You must begin at exactly 12 a.m., not a minute before, not a minute after. Let me tell you the story of a young man named Leo. Leo was a total skeptic. He lived in an old house inherited from his grandparents, the kind of place full of creaks and groans that he'd long since learned to ignore. He spent his nights scrolling through forums dedicated to the macabre, not because he believed any of it, but for cynical amusement. He'd read about every ghost, demon, and so-called real ritual the internet had to offer. The Midnight Game was his favorite. He found the elaborate rules and dire warnings to be a work of collective, creative genius. One rainy Tuesday night, with the wind howling outside, Leo decided he was bored enough to try it, just for a laugh, something to tell his friends about. He gathered the supplies with a smirk: an old pillar candle, a sheet of printer paper, a black marker, the salt shaker from the kitchen, and a sterile lancet from a first aid kit. It all felt so theatrical. At 11:55 p.m., he killed every light in the house. The only glow came from his phone and the flashes of lightning outside. The house was plunged into a thick, unfamiliar darkness. Familiar furniture became ominous silhouettes. He walked to his front door, made of heavy, dark oak. Perfect. He placed the paper on the floor and wrote his full name, Leo Alexander Vance. He paused, the absurdity of it all hitting him. He almost laughed. Then he pricked his finger. A single crimson bead welled up. He squeezed it onto the paper, watching the blood soak into the fibers. He placed the candle on the paper and lit it. The flame flickered, casting long, dancing shadows. 11:59 p.m. He took a deep breath and began to knock on the door. 1, 2, 3. Each knock sounded impossibly loud in the silent house. He watched his phone, timing it. 19, 20, 21. He waited for the clock to tick over to 12 a.m. on the dot. 22. Silence. He opened the door into the pouring rain. A gust of cold, wet wind rushed in, and he blew out the candle. The world went absolutely black. He quickly closed the door. He had done it. According to the legend, he had just invited the Midnight Man into his home. Now for the next step. Immediately relight your candle.
Leo fumbled for the matches in his pocket. His fingers felt clumsy and he dropped the box. A genuine spike of panic, cold and sharp, shot through him. "It's just a game," he told himself, his heart hammering. He got on his hands and knees, sweeping the floor frantically. His fingers brushed against the small box. Relief. He struck a match. It failed. The second one flared, its sulphurous smell filling the air. He brought it to the candle wick. The flame caught, small and tentative, then grew stronger. The game had begun. The goal was to walk around the dark house, avoiding the Midnight Man until 3:33 a.m. If the candle goes out, it means he is near. You have 10 seconds to relight it. If you fail, you must immediately create a circle of salt around yourself and stay inside it. Fail to do either, and the legend says the Midnight Man will trap you in a hallucination of your greatest fear before tearing you apart. For the first hour, nothing happened. Leo walked slowly through his own home, the candlelight his only companion. The house felt different, alien. Every creak of the floorboards was a potential footstep, a presence. He kept telling himself it was just his imagination, amplified by the darkness, but the feeling of being watched was palpable, like a pressure on the back of his neck. He walked into the kitchen. The familiar space was unnerving in the flickering light. He thought he saw a flicker of movement in the reflection on the microwave door, a tall, dark shape standing just behind him. He spun around, his heart leaping. Nothing, just an empty doorway. He let out a shaky laugh. This was ridiculous, but the laughter died. The air in the kitchen had suddenly become cold. Not just a draft, but a deep, penetrating chill. This was one of the signs the stories mentioned. He backed out of the kitchen, his hand trembling. The flame, once steady, began to flicker violently. He decided to go upstairs, feeling a pull toward his bedroom. He took the stairs one by one, his own shadow looming large and monstrous on the wall. As he reached the landing, he heard it, a whisper, so soft he thought he'd imagined it, a dry, sibilant hiss that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. He froze. There it was again, a little closer. He backed away, scanning the shadows, and retreated into his childhood bedroom. He felt a primal urge to hide, but the rules were clear. You must keep moving. Standing still was an invitation. He forced himself to walk around the room. The whispering stopped, but the hostile feeling was stronger than ever, suffocating. He glanced at his phone. 2:15 a.m., a little over an hour to go. He could do this. That's when his candle went out. One moment, there was light. The next, it was gone, snuffed out as if by an invisible hand. He was plunged into a complete, profound darkness. Pure panic seized him. 10 seconds. His hands shook so badly he could barely get the matchbox open. He could hear his own ragged breathing, and underneath it, another sound, a soft, wet shuffling. It was in the room with him. He struck a match. It failed. Another. It flared, and in that brief, sputtering light, he saw it. Across the room stood a figure, a humanoid shape made of pure, featureless black. It had no face, but he could feel its gaze on him. The match went out. He screamed, a raw, choked sound. He fumbled for another match, his mind screaming the count. 7 seconds. 8. The shuffling was closer now. He could feel the cold radiating from it. 9. He struck the match, a desperate, scraping sound. It lit. He shoved it at the candle wick, and the flame caught just as he felt an icy breath on his neck. The candle was lit. The shuffling stopped. He didn't wait. He bolted from the room, not daring to look back. He ran down the stairs, stumbling, hot wax splashing onto his hand. He didn't care. He ran into the living room, his back pressed against the far wall, panting. He looked around wildly. He was losing it. The fear was a living thing inside him. He clutched the salt shaker in his pocket, its weight a pathetic comfort. Maybe he should just make the circle, give up, wait it out. But being a stationary target was somehow even more terrifying. He checked his phone. 3:02 a.m., 31 minutes left, an eternity. He forced his legs to move. The house was silent again, but it was the silence of a predator holding its breath. He began to hear things, not whispers, but familiar sounds. His mother's voice calling his name from the kitchen, his father laughing in the study. It was a cruel psychological trick. He knew it wasn't real, but the ache of hearing those voices brought tears to his eyes. He clenched his jaw. He would not be broken. The minutes crawled by. 3:20 a.m., 3:25 a.m. The finish line was in sight. He felt a sliver of hope. At 3:30 a.m., it happened. He was in the hallway near the front door where it all began. A floorboard creaked directly above him. He looked up, his blood running cold. Standing at the top of the stairs, silhouetted against the faint light from a street lamp, was the Midnight Man. It wasn't a glimpse this time. It was there, solid and real, a void in the shape of a man, just watching him. Leo was paralyzed. His candle flame began to shrink, the light dimming. He knew it was about to go out, and the thing would be on him before he could ever strike a match. He fumbled in his pocket for the salt shaker, his fingers numb. He had to make the circle, now. But as he unscrewed the cap, the Midnight Man moved. It didn't walk down the stairs. It descended like a spider, its long limbs contorting at unnatural angles as it flowed down the wall. The sight was so utterly wrong, so impossible, that Leo's mind just broke. He screamed, a piercing shriek of pure terror, and dropped the salt shaker. Grain spilled across the floor in a useless mess. The creature was at the bottom of the stairs, unfolding to its full, terrifying height. The candle flame died. In the last moment of light, Leo saw his greatest fear. It wasn't the dark figure. It was his own reflection in the hallway mirror, his eyes black, empty pits, his mouth stretched into a silent, eternal scream. Then the clock on the mantelpiece began to chime. It was 3:33 a.m. The game was over. The oppressive presence in the house vanished. The air grew warm again. But Leo was not the same. He survived, yes, but the price in this story isn't death. It's the permanent mental scarring. It's knowing you invited something into your home and part of it never leaves. Leo never saw the Midnight Man again, but for the rest of his life, every shadow looked like a tall, thin figure. Every sudden chill was its presence. He had played the game and survived, but he had lost his peace of mind forever. The secret he learned was that some doors, once opened, can never be truly closed again. If you're fascinated by these kinds of stories that explore the shadows, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. The night is full of whispers, and we're here to listen to all of them. But what if the monsters don't need to be summoned through a ritual? What if they aren't just visitors, but permanent residents of our world, hiding in plain sight? What if they don't just haunt our houses, but run our cities? That brings us to the lore of our second story, a sprawling creepypasta universe known as the City of Midnight.
Forget Gothic castles and caped aristocrats. In this fictional universe, the modern vampire isn't a recluse. They are woven into the very fabric of our society, masters of a game far more complex than any ritual. The City of Midnight creepypasta series peels back the skin of reality to reveal a terrifying premise. It's not one single story, but a collection of tales from various online authors that builds a shared world where certain cities have become vampire sanctums. This isn't about random attacks, it's about systematic control. The lore of the City of Midnight presents a world where vampires have a complex political hierarchy. At the top is the Ministry, or the Vampire Council, ancient beings who set the laws. Their primary decree is the masquerade: never reveal your true nature to humans. Beneath them are nobles who rule territories, and under them, captains who act as local law enforcement. It's a feudal system layered onto a modern metropolis. Age equals power. A fledgling, a newly turned vampire, is at the very bottom. The fiction explores how deeply they are integrated. They control finance, politics, and media. An inexplicable stock market crash, a politician who reverses their platform overnight. Within the story, these are signs of their influence. They don't just feed on us, they shepherd us. We are their cattle and their pawns. To understand the chilling reality of this imagined world, let me share a tale from the city, the story of Detective John Carver. Carver was a transfer, a good cop from the Big Apple, assigned to a special unit in a city the locals called the City of Midnight. He didn't know why at first. He just knew the city felt wrong. His first major case was a John Doe found in a high-end hotel. Carver arrived at the morgue to see the body. The coroner, a weary man named Spectre, pulled back the sheet. The man on the slab was desiccated. His skin was like dry leather stretched over a skeleton. "What happened to him?" Carver asked. "Cause of death is unknown," Spectre said, avoiding his eyes. "It's like every drop of fluid was just pulled out of him. No bite marks, nothing. It was a dead end." But Carver knew this was no ordinary crime. His investigation led him to the Velvet Fang, an upscale nightclub. The whispers said it was something more, a sanctioned feeding ground where vampires could feed on willing humans without breaking the masquerade. Carver walked in, the base a punch to the chest. The air was thick with perfume and a metallic tang he couldn't place. He was approached by the owner, a woman named Bella, her skin impossibly pale, her eyes an ancient, knowing silver. "Detective," she purred, "you're a long way from your precinct." "I'm investigating a death," Carver said, holding up a photo of the man from the morgue. "He was a client here." Bella glanced at the photo, her expression unreadable. "Many people come here, Detective. We offer a unique experience." "This man is more than discreet. He's a husk. It wasn't a normal vampire feeding. Someone drained him dry." A flicker of what looked like fear crossed her features. "There are rules, Detective. The Ministry ensures it. We do not kill the cattle. It is forbidden." "Then something has broken your rules," Carver said. Suddenly, a man appeared at Bella's side. He was tall, dressed in an immaculate suit, and moved with an unnatural silence. He could feel the power rolling off him. This was a lord, a ruler of the city. "The detective is correct," the man said, his voice a low rumble.
There is a sickness in our city, a faction that does not respect the old ways. They call themselves the Unchained. The man introduced himself as Cassian. He explained that the vampire world was on the brink of civil war. The Unchained were anarchic vampires who wanted to tear down the masquerade and rule openly. The dead man was their message. "Why tell me this?" Carver asked. "Because you are a useful tool," Cassian said, as a simple statement of fact. "You operate in the daylight world. You can go where we cannot. Find the leader of the Unchained. Bring him into the light, and we will do the rest." Carver was being used as a pawn in a vampire war. He should have walked away, but he had seen the body. He knew this was real, and more than that, he was a cop. His hunt for the leader of the Unchained, a vampire named Malachi, led him deep into the city's underbelly. He discovered Malachi was a revolutionary, building an army of desperate, hungry fledglings and creating chaos. The climax took place in an abandoned subway station. Carver had a tip that Malachi was holding a recruitment rally. He went alone. It was suicide. The platform was filled with them, their eyes glowing faintly in the gloom. On a makeshift stage stood Malachi, his voice echoing as he spoke of a new world where they would be gods. Carver watched from a dark tunnel, his hand on his useless gun. Cassian had said to bring him into the light. Carver looked up. Through a grime-covered grate high above, he could see the faintest hint of gray. Dawn was coming. He had to create a distraction. He stepped out of the tunnel. "Malachi!" he shouted. Every head snapped towards him, 100 pairs of predatory eyes fixed on him. Malachi smiled. A lamb coming to the slaughter. How brave. "Your war ends tonight," Carver said, raising his gun. The crowd laughed. "My war is just beginning," Malachi said, and leaped from the stage. He moved in a blur, ending with his hand around Carver's throat, lifting him off the ground. "You have seen our world," Malachi hissed, fangs extended, "and now you will die for it." Carver choked, his vision darkening. "You're wrong," he rasped. "You're not gods, you're parasites, hiding in the dark because you're afraid of the sun." The word sun seemed to enrage Malachi. He tightened his grip. "No," a new voice echoed. "You won't." Cassian and a dozen other formally dressed vampires emerged from the tunnels. The ministry had arrived. "Release the human, Malachi," Cassian commanded. Malachi laughed and threw Carver across the platform. Carver hit the concrete wall hard. As he fought to stay conscious, he saw the two sides clash in a maelstrom of impossible violence. This was his only chance. He dragged himself towards a rusted maintenance ladder and began to climb, his body screaming. He reached the grate. It was bolted down. Desperate, he used his spare clip as a lever. With a screech of rusted metal, the lock broke. He pushed the grate open. Weak, gray light spilled into the station. The effect was instantaneous and horrific. The vampires caught in the light screamed as they turned to ash and dust. The fighting stopped. Malachi, standing just outside the light, stared up at Carver with pure hatred. But then he smiled. "You think this is a victory?" he roared. "You have revealed the ministry's weakness. They hide behind their rules and their human pets. This isn't the end. This is the beginning." And with that, he melted back into the tunnels. Carver slumped against the wall. Cassian appeared below him, his face grim. "You have done well," he said. "But he is right. You have not ended this war. You have only escalated it." The cautionary tale Carver learned was terrifying. The premise of the City of Midnight is that we are living on a battleground, caught in a war we can't see. Their greatest protection is our ignorance, and the most terrifying part of the story is that they are not a monolith. They are fractured, warring factions, and our world is their prize. So, tonight, we've explored two of the internet's most chilling horror legends. We've learned the terrible price of inviting a predator into your home in the story of the Midnight Game, a price paid not with your life, but with your peace. And we've uncovered the chilling world of the City of Midnight, a fictional universe that suggests our reality is just a stage for the wars of ancient vampire societies. One story warns us that we're not safe in our own homes when we go looking for monsters. The other suggests we're not safe anywhere because the monsters are already in charge. So the next time you walk alone at night, the next time you feel a sudden chill or see a flicker of movement in the corner of your eye, ask yourself, what secret are you stumbling into? Are you truly alone? Or are you just a guest in their city, a player in their game? The darkness has more stories to tell. If you want to hear them, subscribe to this channel and ring the bell. There are many more midnights to come and many more terrors to uncover. Until next time, stay safe, and whatever you do, don't play the game.